to search someone's home is just pick up the paper and read the obituary column. And they find out the son who has died, and they figure they're going to the funeral parlor, and if they still the time and everything services will be held, and that's another way to find out someone's home. This is the second of a series of 6 half-hour programs designed to help you lessen the chances of your being burglarized. And although this series is entitled burglar-proofing, some people say, there is no way to fully burglar-proof your home. If a burglar wants to get in bad enough, he can do it. He'll find a way to break in. And my aim is to help you discourage him from wanting to. Now, last week, we discussed the first step. Stop leaving invitations for someone to burglarize your home. Now, by invitations, I mean notes you leave on the doors telling the burglar you're not at home, or when they expect you home, leaving windows and doors unlocked, or a hidden key in the mailbox, or under the doormat, or over the door ledge. Now, there are other things that burglars take advantage of, like houses left completely dark at night, and information that you and your neighbors give to strangers about each other. A burglar will take advantage of any invitation and information that you give him. And as you saw in the film segment at the beginning of the program, nothing is sacred to a burglar but your valuables. Now this week, we're going to discuss how a burglar tells when you're not home, and what you can do to make your home seem occupied when it's not. And we're going to get some information from our experts, all ex-burglars. Now let's meet them. Now you met Pete already. He's the burglar who follows the obituary column so closely. Pete's 27 years old. He started burglarizing at 13, and since then he's committed over 500 burglaries. And this is Fred. Fred's 32 years old. He began burglarizing 16 years ago to support his drug habit. He's committed over 150 burglaries. And this is Mike, the second story man. He's 28 years old and has committed approximately 100 burglaries and served 3 years in Maryland Correctional Institutions. And usually a burglar won't break in when you're home. He's going to look for a sign that you've left and no one's around. What kind of signs? Well, let's listen to what our 3 experts have to say. So we've gone through an area. Look at first looking to see who's home. And then we take a photo from the one that's home. And this paper's piled up. Knocking the door. Knocking on one door, asking questions, trying to pass yourself off as a salesman or something like that. Asking people questions about the neighbors, about trying to sell them and their neighbors something, finding out who was at home in the immediate area. If I left this in my other covered family as well on vacation, because of activity, people coming in, no one is leaving or going into the house. Things like newspapers coming over, normally denying and things like that, or wrestling signs like that. The house one time, and there's any people, and if there's any schools in the area, you know, for the mothers to go home and go to school and pick up the kids in the morning, it's got like 20 minutes for us, so go and make it hit the split. Scary, huh? Knowing that someone might be watching you all the time. See, you can't afford to be too careful. You have to be alert and watch everyone. And Fred mentioned that a doctor set up his own fence. Now, of course, if you're being set up, there isn't much you can do to prevent it. All you can do then is try to get your valuables back. And that's something we're going to talk about later on in the series. Right now, the point that you should bear in mind is that most burglaries aren't planned, but they're pulled off by someone taking advantage of an opportune moment. So whenever you leave the house, for 10 minutes or for 10 days, make sure you leave it looking like someone is still at home. Now at night, a light looks natural, but during the day it doesn't. So make sure you don't leave lights on during the day. Check for your garage lights and your porch lights, front and back. Now whether you're in your home or not, a newspaper or a pile of newspaper says that you're not. And it's the same thing with milk bottles and mail. Any accumulation suggests non-occupancy, no one's home, come on in and burglarize me. So if you're going to be away for a while, have your home delivery stopped. And if you're going to be out running errands during the day, try not to set a pattern. Change the routine a little bit. Like they say in football, mix up the plays and keep that burglar honest. Keep them wondering. And whenever possible, arrange for a neighbor to occasionally pick up your children, and vice versa. Now, empty, unlocked garage invites burglars. Some burglars drive right into the garage, close the door behind them, and while using the garage as concealment, load up on stolen property from the house and drive off without being seen. Now, what defense do you have if a burglar walks right up to your door? Well, you have a few weapons that you can use to deter burglars, and one of them is the radio. Just leave it on. Loud enough to be heard without being too loud to disturb the neighbors. See, most burglars don't bother with apartments if they hear noise inside. And the radio suggests that someone is there to listen to it. And even if the burglar knocks and no one answers, you can't tell whether or not the radio prevents you from hearing his knock, and sometimes that might not even be enough for you. He'll try the phone trick. It works like this. A burglar will go down to a phone booth and call your home. And once it starts ringing, he'll leave the receiver off the hook and race back to your home. And if he hears the phone ringing and ringing and ringing and no one answering, he'll know that no one's in home. Now, the way to beat that is simple. When you go out, just turn your phone down so it won't ring as loud. Now, some people leave the phone off the hook when they're going out. And that way, if a burglar calls, he'll get a busy signal. And he won't know whether or not you're home talking to someone or if the phone is out of order or what. Now, of course, there's always the light on trick, and it works sometimes in certain situations. It's natural to have a light on during the evening and not all night, at least not in the living or dining room area. The bedroom is the place a burglar can't be sure of that. So if you're going to leave a light on all night, make sure it's the bedroom light. And if you plan to be away from the home all evening or longer, you might want a neighbor to come in and turn the lights on. Well, you may want to invest in a timer, right? A timer merely allows a light or another piece of electrical equipment to come on at a predetermined time. And it works pretty well when you're away from the home all day in the evening, and sometimes during vacation, but be careful though. Don't set a rigid schedule with your timer. So if you use it daily, staggered set time. That way someone who might be taking you home won't catch on that you're using the timer. If you're going to be out and you're expecting someone to the house, don't leave notes or keys around. Ask the neighbor to wait in your home until your guests arrive. Or arrange for the guests to wait at your neighbor's until you return. But make sure that your neighbor has a description and accurate description of your guests. But don't leave a key, because the wrong party in front. And don't leave a note telling them when you'll be back. Now, see, neighbors are another weapon, but they can be used against you as well as for you. I've had neighbors help me commit burglaries, and I've had neighbors discourage me from doing it. Discouraging me by being there and being aware of my presence and being curious of my presence. They've helped me because I've seen them and they've seen me at the door, answer the door as I was breaking it, and just asking what I was doing, and I was just giving a long story about what this was someone's house. Hey, Jerry. I was going to try to services to that city as a worker in the store, and my organization was called Paranoia, and I got a member of the ready. I wouldn't ask my name or look at my car or anything else, I just go back in the house. Neighbors have been a big problem. Nosy neighbors have been a big problem. People constantly looking out windows and suspicious neighbors, people asking questions. I've had a few occasions when I've been in neighborhoods and about to break into houses when people just seen us walking around the neighborhood and called police. And I'm sure to say the neighborhood. Yeah, I wanted to meet somebody here. Hi. Most burn burglary I pulled was the one I got caught on. And I pulled this one in broad daylight. Somebody, saw me go in. They called the police. Even though it was early in the morning, somebody saw me. The lady saw me and she called the police. The police got there, they had to be there for a while before I even noticed it. Because I never noticed it until I got ready to come out. Now, it isn't always possible or desirable to become intimate friends with your next door neighbors. But it is good to know who they are so that you can look out for each other, especially in apartment complexes where people are frequently moving in and out, and strangers are often taken for granted. But it's good burglar-proof not to take nothing for granted. You want to know who and what is going on in your community at all times. So be attentive to strangers and strange or unusual things that are happening in your neighborhood. Good neighbors are strong burglar deterrents. That nosy neighbor up the street or a retired couple that always sits on their porch may be keeping your home from being burglarized. And statistics show that in areas where neighbors know and look out for each other, burglaries occur less frequently. So your neighbors can be a weapon for you, and you can be a weapon for them. Now, if you're going away on vacation, We've got to take advantage of all the weapons at the command. But let's take a look. Where am I been? First of all, they didn't make the mistake of depending on memory. They wrote down what they wanted to do so they wouldn't forget it. That list probably had things on the right, making sure all the windows and entrances were locked. But all three experts, Mike, Fred, and Pete, mentioned that they checked for unlocked doors and windows. Why not? They're the easiest ways in. 60 to 65% of all burglaries involve no forced entry. So make sure that you keep your doors and windows locked. So hook up to the burglar one that they like. You don't need that. Oh, you don't need that. So just leave it right now. We don't need a timer. That's a good thing when you're going to go home. Because the way you're going to be. I'm not trying to come on. Okay, I guess you're right. My husband explained the need for a timer very well. And the right suggestion of having a neighbor come over and check the house and opening curtains and raising the bar, just walking in and out is a good precaution. So the activity tends to discourage a burglar who's looking for a house with no one home. I called the new company. I know. You didn't call them. Cool. If they had taken her out without stopping those deliveries, you can imagine the pile of paper that would have accumulated during that 4-week absence. And that pile of papers would have been a sure sign that no one was home. And you should arrange for delivered items to be stopped at least a day before you go away. That way you have time to make sure all delivered items are stopped. And that includes milk, mail, dry cleaned items, and anything else that you might be expecting. And the couple was rather thorough in their plans, but not thorough enough. So they didn't mention calling the police. You should notify your local police precinct of your vacation plans and let them know how long you plan to be away, when you expect to return. And be sure to give them the name of anyone you've given permission to enter your home when you're gone. That way, you keep your friend from getting any embarrassed moments with a suspicious police officer.
Then, before you do that, there's an article about the party that you're seeing. Last Friday evening, the Valley Lady School at the Castle. Over 100 friends and acquaintances of Miss Green with one lady, one band to get the popular couple happy farewell. The ladies will be leaving their best ride in the apartment for a 4-week vacation on the Yale Island in the Caribbean. That's beautiful.
No, that's not beautiful. That's probably the biggest mistake they made, publicizing their vacation plans in the newspaper. Now, that one mistake probably outweighs all the measures they took to protect their apartment. The article provides all the information a burglar can ask for, who's going away, where they live, how long they'll be away, and how far they'll be traveling. It's a pretty perfect example of reading between the lines. See, burglars can get lots of information from newspapers in a way. Now, let's take another example, the obituary column. People have been using it at the beginning of the program. Obituary columns tell when and for whom funeral services are being held. And naturally, the burglar assumes the immediate family will attend the service. And while they pay respects to the deceased, the burglar can pay his respects to their relatives. And whenever you want to publicize information, have it done after the event, not before. And whenever you have to give information to newspapers, give as little as possible. And remember, for weddings and funerals, you should always leave someone at the house while the family is away. Classified ads are another source of information burglars use. Ads like this one, in which someone offers to sell something. Now, if it's of any value and the burglar realizes it, he may call pretending to be a buyer. He's not so much interested in the item you're selling, but by its value, he'll figure on you having other items of equal or more value in your home. Now, if you list your address, he knows where you live. But if you just list the phone number, he won't, but he can call you to find out. So the best solution to avoiding run-ins with a burglar is to have the newspapers assign you a box number. Any serious buyer who wants to contact you about an ad can write that box number. The newspaper will forward the letter to you, or you may pick it up. And when you write it that way, you lessen the chances of you having to worry about a burglar because you won't be leaving any trail that might lead him to you. He won't have your address, phone number, or your name, just a box number at the newspaper. So don't leave a trail that will lead a burglar to you. That's a rule for everyone to follow, especially single women who live alone. And normally, when you live alone, you have a job that takes you away from your house during the day. But don't give a burglar any way of finding it out, or he'll have a job too. Don't use your whole name on your apartment door, your mailbox, or your phone. When possible, only use your last name. That way, you leave less chances for the burglar soldiers to find out your business. But getting back to vacations, if you're going to be away a week or longer, arrange to have your lawn cared for as usual. That does two things. It's a way of having someone around the house, and by keeping the lawn cut during your absence, it won't look like the place has been abandoned. Now, it may cost you something to have someone attend to your lawn, but it's nowhere near the cost of being burglarized. Another point, don't load up your car in front of the house where a possible burglar can reach. And that will blow your whole game. If he sees you loading with the car for a trip, or waiting for you to leave, and clean out the house. It's safely load up in the garage or around back where there's less chance of being observed. And if leave the keys with the neighbor and ask them to park in front of the house once in a while. It's another way to make it look like someone was home. And it's a good idea to transfer as many of your valuables as possible to a bank or a friend for safekeeping until you're ready. Return. And if a burglary should take place or a fire occur while you're doing it, at least you'll have something to return to. And be sure to give a trusted friend or neighbor a key. He can take around the house and inside the room where you want to fill around. And ask him to vary the time of things, to vary that lived in occurrence. And don't forget to notify the police of your plans also. Let them know how long you'll be gone and where you'll be in case of an emergency. And also give them your return date and tell them who has the key to make periodic checks at your home. So you don't want your friend to be mistaken for a burglar. And finally, just before you leave, double check all your doors and windows around the home. Make sure they're locked and secure. And be certain you double check all your timers too. And when you return, notify the police and whoever has been watching the place so they don't mistake you for a burglar. And many of the suggestions given this week are excellent purposes. You might take them for granted. And that's exactly why approximately 275 burglaries happen every hour in this country. So people take things for granted, and burglars don't. So if you're pulling away from the house and you think of something that you could have done to discourage a burglar and didn't, go back and take care of it. It might cost you some time, but it can save you some money and a lot of hassle. And next week, we're going to be talking about some burglar-proof hardware, locks. The best locks from various types of entrances. You won't believe how easy it is to get through many of the locks on people's homes today. But we'll show you what you can do about it. And we'll also talk about some other measures necessary for securing your entrances. And meanwhile, look around your fortress, see if it's as safe as you think it is. You might be surprised. Until then, for Fred and Mike and Pete, this is Kenny Holiday saying, beat that burglar to the punch.